Tonight, we examine the police shooting of Jacob Blake and the riots resulting in the killing of 3 protesters by an armed, yet underage, militia member. Then, we take a look at one of the high-profile police shootings that involved the controversial police tactic of a no-knock raid. Why are the officers in the Breonna Taylor case still not charged? Will they be? Should they be? In both cases, how does the media propaganda twist the facts to push an agenda, and where in all this is personal responsibility? We'll discuss. Chuck Licata will be in studio as we get ready to launch the Rona season of the OTA Fantasy Football League. Spaces are now limited, so get your spot today. Draft will be live on the air next Monday. It doesn't cost anything to enter, and the winner gets a barbecue plate for 2. The player to be named later is on holiday in Florida. In the Man Cave, we have the Sky Marshal, Leland Freeman, Mad Mike, and I'm Mike Allen. This is the Radio Man Cave, and you are now on the air.
You're a lion dog faced 20 soldiers. My memory is not as good as. Am I doing this again?
Please clarify specifically, have you taken a cognitive test?
No, I haven't taken a test. Why the hell would I take a test? Come on, man. That's like saying before you got in this program, if you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
What do you say to President Trump, who brags about his test and makes your mistake an issue for voters?
The American public judge my physical and mental my physical as well as my mental fitness. Wait, you're getting nervous, man.
Yes, that was an actual Trump advertisement right there that I just played. And it's freaking hilarious. Hilarious. Anyway, welcome to the show. I'm Mike Allen. We are here in the Man Cave. In the studio with me right now, with the playback going way too loudly on his phone, is the Sky Marshal, Leland Freeman. Also, Mad Mike is here, kicked back, relaxed, on his phone, ready to go. And I'm ready to go. We got a lot of things to talk about. Chuck Licata will be here a little bit later, and we're going to break down the NFL On the Air with Mike Allen Fantasy Football League, which we will be having a live draft next Monday night. So if you're a part of that league, make sure that you tune in. We're going to have the live draft live on the air, and we'll be able to pick our teams for the 2020 season, however that season's going to turn out. And the cracks are already starting to show. CDC kind of slipped in today some new numbers, which pretty much, from the evidence of what I've seen, is pretty accurate to the fact that COVID is not the big badass pandemic that it's been made out to be, and all this was a bunch of bullshit. And pretty soon after the elections, we'll be back to normal. This time next year, this will be a fart in the wind. Now, here's my prediction real quick, and then we'll get into our first topic for the night. My first prediction is if the Republicans retain the White House and if they sweep the House of Representatives, like a lot of the pundits are saying, that the Democrats will continue with the push with the pandemic as long as they can. But again, we're a little bit smarter than the average bear, and it's, if you haven't noticed already that the physical evidence isn't lining up with what we're being told, and it hasn't during this whole thing. I mean, I guess you got your reasons, but yeah, I think if the Democrats win, it's going to be gone by December. By Christmas, we'll have a COVID-free Christmas. Something will happen, some sort of miracle cure will come by or whatever, and boom, everybody will be cured. Chuck Licata just came in the man cave. Come on in, kick her out of the chair. She's keeping it warm for you. All right. The first thing I want to talk about is Breonna Taylor, and I went through all the information that. Come on. Hey. I went through all the information and from various sources, a couple of media outlets I went through, and then I went to the actual police department that handled her case. And the police department's handling this badly. Now, before I get into this, I want to let everybody know that nobody deserves anything. It's not about deserving. It's not about asking for it. It's not about earning it. It was a tragedy that happened. I do not believe in the angle that she was shot specifically because she was black. I don't believe that. I don't believe she was targeted because she was black. I don't believe she was oppressed because she was black. And she was in the position she was in based on some prior decisions of the people she hung out with that involved her in this drug ring that the police were trying to track down. And her resident was the one on the warrant. So that was the first thing I want to address. That was an active warrant for her address, not another address, her address, for a what's called a no-knock raid. We're going to get into that in a little bit, but let me go ahead and break this down. Warrant was issued to her address based on her involvement with a drug dealer by the name of Jamarcus Glover, who was one of her ex-boyfriends. Police have identified her address as a possible drug stash house, which are common. People will use people they know, family members, ex-girlfriends, girlfriends, to stash drugs, to hide them from police, with people who would not raise any suspicion of having the drugs, and that way the drugs would be safe from getting confiscated by the police. That's a common practice with drug dealers in the drug trade. Police identified her address as being a possible stash house after surveillance video of the address showed Mr. Glover, Jamarcus Glover, entering and leaving the apartment with packages over some time. Now, and I just want to let you guys know that in order to get a warrant, a judge to sign off on a warrant, the police have to come with enough evidence to justify their actions and get it signed off by a judge. So they just can't go to a judge and say, give us a warrant for this address. There's a lot involved with it. Reports have to be done. Evidence has to be gathered. All that has to be done before they get the warrant from the judge. Police believe that Mrs. Taylor was home alone. She was not. Her boyfriend, who was in legal possession of a firearm. He was not involved in the drugs at all. He was just her boyfriend, and he had a gun, and he was legally in possession of that gun. He was also there that night. And here's where it all went wrong. Now, I am not a big fan of no-knock warrants. Let me explain what a no-knock warrant is. A no-knock warrant is when the police have reason to believe that something is happening inside of a residence or a private residence, and the tactic is to knock the door down and gain entry into the residence quick enough so that the people in the residence don't have time to destroy any evidence that's in the residence. That's the reasoning behind a no-knock raid. But if you're going to do a no-knock raid, you either go all the way or you don't do it at all. And what the police department did in this case is they went halfway. Believing that she was there alone, they knocked on the door first and demanded entry. Now, reports are that they did not identify themselves, so they're already half-assing it at this point. Breonna, her boyfriend, got up out of bed. The boyfriend, not knowing who it was at the door, armed himself. And then when the police officers used a battering ram, a handheld battering ram, to bust open the door, thinking his house was being invaded, he opened fire, as any resident would do in the United States. The police officers then returned fire, and one police officer, who has since been fired for the actions of that night, fired blindly through a window into the apartment. Not only did he put his partners at risk because they were going through the door into the apartment, but he did not have an identifiable target, and he fired into the residence, and those rounds are the ones that struck Miss Taylor, which ultimately ended her life. She was not in bed asleep. The police officers did not go into her bedroom and shoot her in her bed. That was one of the things that was being pushed out there by the propaganda. Now, she did not deserve to die. She was not shot because she's black. She was killed because of a botched police operation. Now, some of the changes I'd like to see in law enforcement, especially in this case, is getting rid of the no-knock raid. Joining me live in the studio, Chuck Licata, KMAX Sports player, and Mad Mike, and the Sky Marshal, Leland Freeman. How you doing, guys?
Well, that's kind of a downer way to intro us is after...
Well, now we get to discuss it.
Yeah.
You guys are all on. Your mic is on.
Well, I fully agree with you that they botched the no-knock raid. The fact that they first knocked, and the fact is a lot of these no-knock raids are exactly like you said, is that a lot of people view it as a home invasion. I mean, a lot if it's a...
Well, especially now in today, I mean...
And if they're already, doing some nefarious stuff, they're probably already probably tense to begin with. But then there's also the times where they get the wrong house.
Well, this wasn't the case. Now, I want to be very clear about this. Nope, don't go throwing chaff up on the wall. They had the correct address.
Right.
Her name was in the warrant. The problem wasn't that they had the wrong address. The problem is if you're going to do a no-knock raid means you walk up with the battering ram, hit the door, you're in before anybody can react. Right. They didn't do that.
No.
They knocked on the door and didn't identify themselves. So it gave them time for Brianna and her boyfriend to react, and unfortunately, the reaction of the boyfriend was, someone's breaking into my house, I don't know who it is, I'm going to shoot. Right. I'm going to tell you right now, if somebody kicks in my front door and doesn't tell me who they are, I'm going to shoot you. Yeah. And by the way, when the boyfriend hit an officer in the leg, he was originally charged with a felony assault on a peace officer. Those charges have all been dropped.
No-knock warrants are terrible, and I hate them. Period.
Yeah, they should. Well, here's my thing about a no-knock warrant. One, like I said, if you're going to do a no-knock warrant, do it. Don't half-ass it.
Or just don't fucking do it.
But here's my question. If your reasoning to do a no-knock warrant is to get into the house before they can destroy evidence, then what evidence did you have to get a warrant in the first place?
Yeah, obviously, you don't have fucking evidence, and this is all hearsay and everything else.
Well, no, you need evidence to get a warrant. You have to.
Sounds like they don't have fucking enough evidence if you're doing a no-knock.
I mean, well, no. Let me get something straight. Judges will not sign a warrant with no evidence.
What happened with that case in Houston a couple of years ago with the alleged black tar heroin house that turned into the two people in the house ended up shot dead, and there was actually no evidence it was black tar heroin.
That was the wrong address. Has nothing to do with Breonna Taylor's case, and I don't want to get those two mixed up.
Gotcha.
That was the wrong address. Also a botched raid. But my point, here's one thing we're going to do on this show. I am not going to do the what if and what about. We're not going to do that. Yeah. I'm not going to do the what about. Well, what about this? Because we got different officers, different circumstances, and different chains of events leading up to the incident. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
You cannot compare the two. Right. You can't say, well, you can't argue by saying, well, this happened here, but what about this way over here that has nothing to do with this? How come the officers didn't act the same? Well, they're not the same officers. Not the same department, not the same experience, not the same call. Nothing's the same. That's like saying, why is the Ford run and the Chevy doesn't?
No, that makes perfect sense.
You know what I'm saying?
Why does the Ford run in the Chrysler?
Then the Chrysler doesn't. Yeah. Why does the 2014 Chrysler need new transmission and all that work done on it? His POS is sitting in the driveway. I don't know how that thing is still running.
Because it's built for tough.
Oh my God.
There you go.
Pure hatred.
Hey, so just and again, you guys are the news guys stuff. I'm the sports guy. But what scares me about what you said, the recount of the story of what you said, what scares me is the officer who shot in the window, not knowing what he was shooting at and not knowing what was on the other side. What are you doing?
And you know that's one of those things where that's why he was fired, because
Thank
when
God.
how we're trained as police officers is you never put your finger on the trigger until you've acquired a target. We're not the Marines. We're not storming a beach. We're not firing from the hip. That's not how we're trained. So that's why he was fired, and rightly so. He should be fired, because you don't fire through a window into a house with, if you're getting shot at out of the house.
Right.
You still need to acquire a target. That's military training. Our boys over in Afghanistan can't engage unless they have a target,
Now,
even if they're getting shot at.
if the property was under surveillance and they didn't have enough, I mean, they had enough evidence to get a warrant, but they didn't know what they had. Why didn't they wait till the property was vacated?
Well, see, and that's another thing about no-knock warrants. And this is where the legality of it comes in a little bit, because in order to serve a warrant on a private residence, I believe you have to be able to serve it to someone. I think. I may be wrong. But either way, this was a horrible police operation that went wrong, and a young lady lost her life, and it's tragic that she lost her life, and it sucks that she lost her life. But what really kind of irritates me is how the propaganda takes over and presents this as a racial issue when it's not. It's a botched police operation. And she wasn't targeted because she was black. She was targeted because of the series of events that led up to that night, placed her in the circle of people that they were going after. Whether she was guilty of doing or holding or anything. But if you hold drugs for somebody, you are part of the process of the investigation. Whether you're an EMT or not. And I got news for you. There's firefighters that, as a police officer, that have been busted, that I know of, that have been busted for heroin. I know cops that have been busted for drug dealing. I know EMTs that got busted for, stealing stuff off just because your job doesn't define your character, obviously. And I'm not saying she had bad character. She obviously didn't choose good people to hang around.
She made some bad choices.
She made some bad choices about her friends. You know what I mean? If I know that Mad Mike's dealing heroin, he's not, by the way. He's not. Maybe Monster energy drinks, not heroin. But if I know that he's doing that, I'm not going to allow him to live here in my house. Right?
Because then you'd be an accessory.
And that exactly.
Speaking of bad choices, Mike.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. That's in the next segment. Don't jump ahead here.
But a bump.
Is that really going to be a thing though? What you said?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, I'm down. So
Yep.
really then the second pick will have the first pick. Is that how that's going to go? Whoever
That's
has
how
the
it's-
second pick will legally have the first pick, since my first pick will always be the same guy, but we'll get into that later. Let's talk about what happened in Wisconsin. Now, I am a Second Amendment supporter, and I'm gonna kind of turn this over to you guys to discuss. But here's my take on it. I don't care the legal status or the age of the person that has a firearm. If you attack him, you're probably going to get shot. Discuss.
Yeah.
First of motherfucking all,
He's gonna two-mic it. He's two-micing this, man.
right? Back in the day when the first complaint is, he was under 18, he shouldn't have a gun.
You know, you don't actually need both mics.
Not with that attitude. Anyway, they were like, he was like under 18. He was 17. He doesn't need a gun. Like, I pretty much carried a gun with me for a large portion of my childhood. Out and about, out in the middle of the goddamn woods. Also, fuck you, that's none of your business. Number 2, a large portion of the Continental Army during 1776, when we told the Brits fuck off, were between the ages...
We're dropping the F-bombs early and often.
They were like between the ages of 15 and 18 were a large majority of the soldiers, because the other ones had wives and kids. So they mostly were in militias who were able to kind of go home and hang out, then come back and tell the Brits to piss off. So constitutionally, yeah, I think he should be able to have a goddamn gun. I think that's totally all fine and dandy. I think, number 1, you shouldn't throw Molotov cocktails at people and expect not to get domed. I think that's a pretty fair, like...
I thought it was just a skateboard. But they threw a Molotov
Yeah,
at him?
so it all started because some dude
Holy
threw a Molotov cocktail at him. So, he started on doing the Kenosha kilometer. After doming that dude, he was going to go run towards the police because he was on the phone with him. He's like, yo.
Yeah, he called 911 right away. And actually, the video, he was going to go render aid, but got pushed away by some folks that ran up.
Yeah.
And then he got on the phone to call the police and call an ambulance.
In fact, the whole reason why he was there was to render aid.
Anyway, so that happened, right? Then some other dude tried to come up and ended up hitting him with a skateboard, and the whole mob started swarming him. So he shot that dude and, killed him. I think he got like a heart shot or whatever. That guy just dead.
Well,
Then
yeah, that's
that
the guy
other-
the guy that hit him with the skateboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then there was that other dude who was coming at him and put his hands up and then reached and pulled out a handgun. And that guy lost his right to bear arms a long time ago. And then also, like, straight up...
Damn near lost his arm. Yeah.
I mean, I think he should. And I think
Well, it was a massive injury.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like, that guy
Holy cow.
And the reason why you say
that guy got rocked.
and the reason why you say he lost the right to bear arms is because the guy that
Oh, yeah, all three of them were convicted, like, felons.
Yeah,
But
the guy that got shot in the head, him with the skateboard, then got shot in the head.
one of them was like a pedophile. The other one,
Yeah, the guy that got domed was a pedophile.
yeah, one of them was like a wife beater, the
the guy
gun-owning
who
guy,
got shot in the
and
eye.
the other guy was a burglar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the gun. The
Yeah.
guy with the gun.
Yeah, all three of them technically should not have had any sort of firearms and probably shouldn't have picked a fight with a kid
With a
with
firearm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And here's the thing: everybody's saying, "Yeah, but he carried it over state lines illegally." That was disproved. That gun was actually owned by a friend of his that lived in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
He lived across state lines, but the state border was like 10 minutes away
Yeah,
from
he
Kenosha.
lived-
so
yeah, he lived like
he basically,
15
I'm in
minutes away.
Hutto, and Austin, Texas is about how far he went. About 20-minute drive.
Yeah, there was a
so.
protest in downtown. So not even downtown. That's like me driving to like the far side of Round Rock.
Yeah.
And-
So that got disproved. Now the only thing, and a lot of people came out with the state law about carrying a firearm, and I have to agree. I think as a 17-year-old carrying a loaded firearm in a public place, he is in violation of the law, and he probably should be charged with that. That does not mean that the three people that got shot
No, I think
all of a sudden magically don't get shot because the guy was carrying an illegal firearm. It doesn't make the bullets less fatal.
see, my thing is, I think you should have a parade because it killed a pedophile. So
And that's another thing.
I would say
Yeah.
that too.
That's another thing. Aren't we anti-pedophile? Isn't that kind of the going thing right now? Isn't that the underlying conspiracy theory that all this is happening to distract us from the pedophiles?
Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book, Ely Maxwell's Black Book, and it just name a celebrity in Hollywood. They could probably be pedophiles.
President Trump's all over that black book. I mean, aren't these things supposedly a distraction from all that?
I mean, I still think it's awesome that dude. That guy's. I hope the kid gets
should be
off
given a
scot-
medal.
Well,
Yeah.
he'll probably catch. God dang, this thing's loud. I got to get a new boom mic.
I hope
I even
he gets off
put
WD-40.
oil in. Well, no, I did all that, and it's the spring.
WD-40 isn't a lubricant. It's a water displacement chemical.
Good Lord.
It was
Anyway,
originally
I need a
designed
new
to
one.
be sprayed outside of missiles.
Yeah.
If you want
Pretty
oil,
much.
I have oil.
Well, I have household oil. I just
Not household oil. I got like Wonder Oil.
okay. We'll get the Wonder Oil out here because right now our producer's in Florida, and when he comes back, he's going to want to.
Yeah. So
He's
when
going
I
to
was-
want to have a well lubricated boom.
When I talked about him, speaking of the player to be named later, when I was talking to him, because he's in the dong of America, but he's more of it like the shaft, like the base of it, instead of like on the shaft. So he's pretty happy.
He's right on the beach, man.
Yeah. And I was like, that's awesome.
So anyway, the bottom line is Breonna Taylor was not shot because she's black. Unfortunately, her life choices surrounded her with people that put her in a situation to where she was killed by a police officer who broke policy and a botched raid, and that's all it is. And it's unfortunate, it's tragic, and at the end of the day, you have to look at all the facts and the totality of the circumstances before you can get your emotions involved in it and have what we're having, which is total chaos. Anything else? We're going to take a break. When we come back, we have in the man cave and he used to be here all the time.
I believe
But
Joe
now- oh,
is
God dang
right
it.
when he's
Hush. He used to be here all the time,
What
but
was
now,
that?
but now we have to, beg him to come in here.
Please.
So he's here now, and gracing us with his presence. We come back, Chuck Licata, and you have an opportunity to get into the OTA Fantasy League. How many slots we have left?
3.
3 left, and the
3
deadline is Friday.
Yes.
And that's it. Next Monday, we're having the whole show is going to be the NFL draft.
3.
Right here. 3 slots left. MikeAllenSports@gmail.com. Send me your information. Send me your email. The next 3 people that send me their email get into that. Free barbecue to the winner. Doesn't cost anything to be a part of the Fantasy League. We'll be right back after this quick message from the Democrat couple that's taking on Trump in November. I'm Mike Allen. This is the Radio Man Cave, and you are on the air.
I believe Joe is right when he says that this election is a fight for the soul of America. I do believe this is an inflection moment in the history of our country. This is a moment in time where we have to look in a mirror and ask ourselves, who are we? And I think we all know we are better than this. The strength of who we are as a nation has always been about fighting for our ideals. We will elect Joe Biden as the next president of the United States.
All right, we're coming back. Patrick, I got your message. Chuck said he already sent you an invite. So get on it. Get on it, get on it, get on it.
Patrick, you're in. I just need the other person's email address so we can re-invite them. You're in, though. You're good. You having fun over there, Mike?
I am having fun.
There you go.
This is awesome.
You like it?
I like it.
All right.
I like this Paducah thing.
Yeah.
This Paducah thing. Welcome, Chuck. God dang it, we're
What's
going to have
up?
a football season.
That's right.
And I heard the Big Ten and the Pac-12.
Yes.
The players and the coaches have gotten together, and they're going to play regardless of the decision. They're going to figure it out, and they're going to go play.
And they're going to figure out a way.
Yep. Even if I caught a couple of coaches saying even if they have to use their own pay and rent a high school football stadium, the Big Ten is determined to play their schedule.
Well, what's funny is they're at that time where they were talking about this when everybody was anticipating the Big Ten doing it. Everybody thought the dominoes would fall. It was just waiting for the Big Ten to do it, and then boom, that's it. Everybody else is going to fall in line and whatever.
and then just
didn't
cave.
happen.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
Just the Pac-12 fell in line.
Well, gee, there's a surprise. But yeah, and that's the problem is they got, I don't know what's the word, smoked, embarrassed. What do you want to call it? Embarrassed, yeah. SEC came out, Big 12 came out. It's like, oh man. Let me ask you this: as a Big 10 Michigan Love You Blue fan, how'd you feel?
I was surprised because the Big Ten has always been a leader in this type of stuff.
Usually, right?
And I think at first, of course, my first indication was, or my first gut feeling was, why are the coaches agreeing to this? What the hell is going on? It's Big Ten freaking football, man. But then I found out that the coaches had no say whatsoever in what was going on. It was just three chancellors, three. Mm-hmm. And now it's even coming out. The CDC fixed their numbers with COVID. And like I've been saying all along,
6%.
It's not as bad as what everybody was being led to believe.
6% of the reported COVID deaths came from COVID.
And as somebody who has lost over 100 pounds, who now walks every day, and who is taking care of myself.
Except for the gray in the beard, but
Well, the gray in the beard, that's old-time movie blonde.
Okay.
But for somebody for somebody who technically, because I'm still obese, is technically at risk from COVID.
Yes.
If I caught COVID and died, I got news for you. That's my freaking fault.
Mm-hmm.
But
here's the deal.
But you already did catch COVID.
But here's the deal. I think I already got it. Mm-hmm. And I found out later I have to correct something. I thought that I had gotten the antibody test when I took my test when we went to Taylor, Mad Mike. I did not. But I tested negative for COVID. I do still think I had it way back in February. But here's the thing. I'm considered an essential worker. I'm a delivery driver / rideshare driver. Mm-hmm. I went back and counted. I've given 675 rides since February.
Wow.
I didn't stop, except when my van was down getting new parts, which is a total of 3 weeks during that whole time. I drove the whole time. And in the beginning, I got to be honest, I wasn't a real big mask guy. And it wasn't until I got complained on by another driver.
Really?
Yeah, who saw me driving with people in my car with no mask on, and I got reported for not wearing a mask to Uber, and I was threatened with deactivation, and right now I need it. I need the money. So I need that income. So I complied, and I put my mask on. I don't care if my passengers put my mask on or not. I'm not going to force somebody to do it. I'm not scared. But the physical evidence has not lined up at all to this whole thing.
Well, I mean, come on. We're waiting for the election to be over, and then all of a sudden, I think I walked in when you guys were just talking.
Fart in the wind.
Yeah.
The only evidence that lines up is how much money these hospitals are getting.
My God.
State Senator Bob Hall actually put out a video illustrating this, that they would hold people in the hospital for at least 24 hours, not let them be discharged to get $50,000 of COVID money. And then if they let them get worse and by not giving them treatment such as hydroxychloroquine, guess what? They got another $39,000 for putting them on a ventilator. So there is a real big financial incentive to keep people in the hospital and keep them sick for as long as possible. Plus, also saying the orange man's bad.
Yeah.
But when the numbers came out by the CDC, this is not us saying 6%. It's the CDC, where they revised, was it 183,000, 6% of 183,000? It's a little over 10,000. Yes,
died just from COVID.
Died just from COVID, which, any death is tragic, but 10,000 deaths in the United States over a population of 300 million.
And even though I've been corrected on Facebook, they don't count flu the same way. Because if I have a heart attack, but I had flu when I had a heart attack, they count me as a heart attack,
right?
With the underlying cause of maybe flu, but but the flu deaths are counted as the guy caught the flu and died.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, I mean that's
if that's what caused it.
Coroner's report. What caused the death?
Now, if I had
what contributed to the death? This may have. This may have.
But
this
but
may
even
have.
car accidents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Were being,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
But anyway.
it's so ridiculous. Probably the only person that had COVID at the time of their death that wasn't counted was George Floyd at the time. He had COVID in his system.
Oh, did he?
He did.
Well, it came out now that he actually died of a drug overdose.
That-
But here's and just a real quick on George. That's another case where the officers did not due diligence. They once you have somebody contained, you get them up. You get them up. You make sure they're okay. You check you check them out. But we've already talked about that. But let's talk about football.
Fantasy football, baby.
God
okay,
dang it!
the
All right, so break it down.
OTA.
How are we gonna do this? Break it down. Tell us
Okay.
tell us what to expect.
All right, so it's basic standard fantasy. The only thing that's usually different.
We're using ESPN, right? So
Right,
you
we're
need,
using
so-
ESPN.
So, you need to have
you need to have us log into
log
ESPN.
into ESPN. Okay.
Yep. And it's basic stuff. The only thing that's a little bit different in some leagues than others is in some leagues the quarterback touchdown pass gets 6 points. In some it gets 4 points. We are the 4 points. So your running backs and receivers get 6 point touchdown per touchdown catch and run. So keep that in mind as you're scoring because number one rule in fantasy, learn the rules of the league itself. Don't assume it has the same rules as anybody else. But we are basic. We are out to have fun, period. Part of that is this. Mike Allen will always have the first pick as long as he picks Baker Mayfield with the number one pick. And Mike Allen has the number one pick. Actually, the league itself, the site itself, already did a random draw of the draft. So it's already there. Draft positions are determined. We just have 3 more teams that need to, actually 2 now because Patrick's friend is going to be part of it too. And Patrick, by the way, hi.
And if we now
And send me the email address of that person.
and like we did last year, and I want to make sure everybody understands this. We're not gonna. Right now, we have this set at what 12 teams.
12.
But if this week, if I get a flood of people that want to be a part of this, we will expand it.
Right.
To take in some more people. We're not going to go too crazy,
No.
but
14 tops.
So every year I pick Baker Mayfield.
Yes. Number 1.
Baker Mayfield. I know Patty did it. Patty's watching right now.
Oh, he's got to pick Drew
Patty-
Brees as his first shot.
Patty clapped his hands. But how is this now?
Yes.
When we go into the draft, this is going to be different than any type draft we've ever done because of the bullshit
of-
we're going through.
Yes.
So what are some things for folks to look at and to look for as far as, I mean, it's not cut and dried
No.
this year.
Okay, so the biggest thing that every fantasy, if you listen to SiriusXM, fantasy sports, the question about fantasy football in particular is how many injured positions do you get on your roster, or how deep is your bench? Because everybody wants to take that situation where if people are out because of COVID or out of injury, because there's going to be more injuries than normal because there's no preseason, especially for football. This is really going to lead to injuries, hamstrings, whatever. Okay, so we're going to have, I haven't looked at it yet, but we're going to have a little bit deeper bench, and you can have a couple more injured players kept on your roster because of the current situation.
You're already seeing that with baseball. I mean,
Yes.
how many baseball players are out with an injury, with either leg hamstring injuries or pitchers? I mean, here's a good example. What's his face? Verlander.
Yep.
Yeah, there's talk he's going to need Tommy Johns, and at his age, he may just say,
You better hang it up at this point.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
"No."
So when drafting, I mean, who's the guy from Jacksonville that just got let go?
Oh, Leonard Fournette.
Fournette's
the running back.
gone.
Yep.
So he's not even on a roster.
No, but he will be by the weekend.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he's-
someone's going to
he's too
grab
good.
him. But
Yep.
but here,
Now, what's interesting though, in fantasy terms, for team leagues that have already drafted, okay, so Leonard Fournette was drafted, so he's on somebody's roster. If he goes to say Chicago, okay, the people in that league that drafted David Montgomery and Tariq Cohen are now screwed because Leonard Fournette becomes the number 1 ball carrier on that team in Chicago.
On the team in Chicago,
And so
yeah.
David Montgomery and Tariq Cohen. And
Is that where you
Montgomery's
think he's
actually
going?
out.
Is that where you think he's going?
No, I don't think he's going to Chicago.
I mean, Chicago's a train wreck, man. They need something.
Now, Philadelphia would be a good place because he would be part of a two-man crew because they've got, oh, crap, I forget his last name, Miles somebody, and they've got another decent running back. He would be part of a triumvirate, which would kill fantasy guys because, like, who do you pick out of? Oh, Miles Sanders. Who do you pick out of Philadelphia,
Yeah.
to get you, full-time fantasy, carries, 20 touches a game, whatever. Okay, so you're kind of screwed there. But the Eagles themselves make out really well because now they're 3 deep at running back.
Where's the LSU quarterback? Where did he end up going?
He's at Cincinnati. He's with the Bengals.
So
Joe Burrow.
So
Joe
he
Burrow's,
might,
yeah.
So he might actually get some play time this year instead of just.
No, he's starting.
No, he is starting.
He is
Yeah,
starting.
but Cincinnati didn't have anybody.
No,
but it's the Bengals, so
Yeah.
good luck with that.
yeah.
Yeah, so he'll be probably beat up.
Although they do have the number 6 running back in fantasy, Joe Mixon, and of course they have AJ Green, who is just forever. The guy's ageless. He really is.
So
And you know what's funny?
Yes.
Because, I follow a group of Lions fans, and I'm a Lions fan.
Yes. Diehard Lions fan.
This
Kudos
is
to
the
you.
first year
Yes.
following these hashtags. One Pride, Lions Forever, Tired Lions Fan, which I created, and a bunch of other ones.
Lions suck.
We have already given up.
really, because that was good.
Oh yeah,
That was-
yeah.
that was
It's like, screw it, man. I mean, they have made some of the most boneheaded trades and acquires. I don't get it. I don't get it.
You guys always
I don't get it.
Pistons, but-
I could go up there and do a better job knowing nothing
No doubt.
because I just pick Baker Mayfield.
Because I was going to ask, because of this year, the way this year's going, the Lions.
I know they just might screw around and go undefeated and win the whole shebang.
I highly doubt that.
I
but
doubt
you never
it
know.
too. But you know
never
what?
know.
It's 20 man.
Yeah, exactly. Anything can happen.
Which means the Cowboys might actually no, they're just
No,
they're going to
no.
be social distancing from the trophy.
They're going to be social distancing from the end zone, from passed balls, from handoffs. They're going to be,
Yeah, what's the deal? Dak is stuck on is it a contract? What's it called? Contract. It's that weird thing.
They haven't given it. It's
tagged player.
Oh, yeah,
what's it
he's
called?
a franchise tag.
He's a
Franchise
franchise
Yeah,
tag
he's stuck on a franchise tag right
because
now.
he wants
Yeah.
way too much money. Okay,
He's not worth it. Okay.
All right, guys.
He's not worth
It
it.
doesn't matter. And really, if it's a business, and if learn the lesson of our quarterback in Detroit, learn the lesson of what was the kid that came out of Washington State and was a bust.
Oh, Ryan Leaf.
Learn the lesson of Ryan Leaf.
Boy, that's a long
Learn the lesson of some of these quarterbacks that came out and just raped the football club that they went to with astronomical salaries.
Johnny Manziel.
They will never
Who?
win a Super Bowl. Do you know
Manziel.
why they'll never win a Super Bowl? They'll never win a Super Bowl because when they have a thing called a salary cap. And if all the money is going to one player, you're not going to have enough money to pay the other 10 players to support the one player. There's a reason why Tom Brady will go down as the greatest professional football player of all time. And here's my prediction. He'll be at Tampa Bay for 3 years. He'll play out his contract. One of those will be a Super Bowl.
So it will be just like
Super Bowl win or Super Bowl?
A Super
appearance?
Bowl win.
So it will be like Peyton Manning. 3 years, go out on top.
But do you know why?
Although Tom Brady's brother
but do you know? But do you know why Peyton Manning only had 2 Super Bowls, and why he got the Super Bowl he got in Denver?
Oh, real simple. Because he had too much money. He took too much money
He
for himself.
took too much money.
Tom Brady, and that's the thing that I still think people don't understand. Bill Belichick is a genius with what he's done.
And he's one of the greatest coaches of all
like,
time. Yeah.
He's like, who's the Pat? What's his name? Pat Riley.
Yeah.
Okay, but Pat Riley will be the first to tell you it's the players that made this. It wasn't me. I just directed them. It's the same thing with Belichick and Brady. It was Brady, folks. He's the one that took the pay cut so they could bring in other players. He's the one that made players around him better.
Yeah.
It wasn't Bill Belichick. It was
He
Tom
could have.
Brady.
And if he would have taken one of those big time, he's like middle of the road.
Yeah.
He's middle of the road, but they were able to bring in the Randy Mosses.
The defense that
the
they
defense that they put together, the different. I mean, they were able to build a balanced program because he didn't take up all the salary cap, saying I'm the best, and that's why he has 9 Super Bowl appearances, 6 rings, and he will have 1 more ring with Tampa Bay before he leaves
I just wonder
if he stays healthy. And here's the thing about Tampa Bay,
why are you pointing at me?
doing the same thing with Bruce Arians.
Yep.
And players are beating down the door to try to get on that roster.
Yep.
Just because Tom Brady's there.
Brady,
Go ahead.
hang on real quick. Brady was quoted. They ran a soundbite. Brady and Arians are in love with each other. They are so on the same page. It's ridiculous.
It's going to be
Sorry,
fun
Matt,
to
Mike.
watch.
Oh yeah, no, I just wanted to thank you for reminding me of that time. Peyton Manning lost like a motherfucker to my goddamn Seahawks.
Oh, he got smoked.
That was.
Oh my God, that was bad.
I felt bad for him.
I felt bad for him because I like Peyton Manning. I just
Yeah.
like him as a person.
Yeah, and great dude, but
But then what did he do? He took a pay cut. They brought in the defensive guy, 58.
Yeah, I know. Who you're talking about?
that guy.
Von Miller.
Yeah.
They got the defense set, and he even admits it. I did not win that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Von Miller. I rode Von Miller's coattails to the Super Bowl because he took a huge pay cut and bought 9 Papa John's franchises. Now he owns over 100.
Yeah, that's
and then they legalized pot in Colorado. And if you own a pizza franchise in Colorado,
That's the way to go, baby.
that's the way to go, man.
Making more money selling pizza.
Oh my God, yes,
That is the way
huge
to go.
money, gargantuan money.
Are at the margins on the Supreme are 90%, something like that?
Oh, pizza's the best. Hey, if you're going to go into a food business, pizza's the way to
Because it
go.
costs no more than $1 to make the pizza, and you're selling it. For,
Yeah, about $1.75 to make a large Supreme pizza.
and you're selling it for 20.
Yeah.
So So getting back to football, what's the
Yeah.
Texans' problem? They got a decent defense with J.J. Watt. Why is it that they just kind of average team? They maybe get 1 or 2 rounds in the playoffs.
Here we go. Mad Mike's going to be on another
One
rant.
word.
Yeah.
Houston.
Oh, I thought you were going to say coach.
Well, and when
It is the coach.
and the fact is that when Kubiak was fired, and they fired him, and it was actually the process of turning that season around. Then he had the seizure or stroke or what he had. Then he went to Denver and won his
amazingly,
first year in Denver with Peyton's last year.
Because it's Houston, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because it's Houston.
Because it's Houston. Sorry, Houston.
Yeah, seethe harder, Houston people.
And by the
We're
way-
a team that doesn't cheat.
Over under on how many games it takes Houston
That
fans.
was baseball, and the Rockets actually won. And the Rockets actually won legitimately. Granted, the Bulls
Shots fired.
The Bulls didn't have Jordan, and there's actually a really good 10-part documentary about the Bulls on Netflix. Which
Okay, so real quick, over under, how many games does it take Texans fans to realize that the D. Hopkins for David Johnson trade was one of the worst in Houston sports franchise history?
Oh, and they gave away the receiver? Oh.
How do you give up DeAndre Hopkins for anybody, let
I mean,
alone
did
a
they-
guy
did-
who was beaten out by Kenyon Drake?
Did they call Detroit for advice on this? Or what?
They must
they
have.
probably did.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
how sick.
McNair's in football heaven right now, so probably
Yeah.
whoever's running the team. 5 games.
Yeah.
Well, if J.J. Watt can stay healthy for more than half the season,
Yeah, but I'm afraid he's.
but the way
his
he
days are way behind
plays,
him.
well, the way he plays, he beats himself up.
Yeah,
That's just the way he plays.
but his best days are behind him, unfortunately. And letting what's his name, the defensive end, what's his name, go to Seattle. What's his name? Mad Mike.
What do we?
No.
Methinks again. I don't know.
Javon.
Defensive end.
Javon.
Now
Cur-
it's
Curse?
like
Was it-
Deshaundre or something like that. Whatever his name is, letting him go was a huge mistake.
Is Kansas City more or less intact this year from last
Oh
year?
yeah. Well,
Yep.
they had some things move around, but they had a player retire and that stuff like that. But here's and next week's going to be the draft. Mm-hmm. We're gonna after the break, we're going to break down how
spots.
that's going to go. 2 spots left. You got Patty and his boss, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And like I said, 2 spots right now. But if we get a lot of people sending in, if you're watching
We'll go a
this
couple
later,
more.
if you're not watching this live, we'll bump it up if you get it in before Friday. But it's we're not. I mean, I want people to be involved in this because
Yes.
it's fun. It doesn't cost anything to be a part of it, and you get it. And Hugh Ayers, actually, did we get Hugh? Is Hugh back?
I haven't seen an email for Hugh.
All right, I'll have
The
to.
defending champ, Randy Fry, is back, by the way.
Randy Fry's back,
Yes.
and
And
Randy,
he's listening right now, by the way.
and Randy
Or watching.
Did you enjoy your barbecue?
Yes.
He did. We went to, I can't even remember when we went. It's Pflugerville, someplace from Pflugerville.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't remember the
that's
name of
cool.
it off the top of my head, but it was good. So I'm good for my word. You don't have to live in Texas either. If
Right.
you live anywhere in the continental United States or Alaska or Hawaii, it doesn't matter.
He will send you money
With
for
the
barbecue.
power, now I ain't sending shit. What I'll do is you tell me the restaurant that you want to go to. I will contact the restaurant and make sure everything's taken care of through the power of the internet. So that's how
beautiful
that
thing.
works. It's a beautiful thing. Well, in every presidential election, we only get to see the 2 candidates because that's by design. That's where the money goes, but not here on this show. And as soon as I can find information on the Reform Party candidate, Rocky, I didn't write it down. As soon as I get information on him, we'll be showing his campaign videos. And we're going to talk more about that when we come back. But when we come back, we're going to have a breakdown of what's going to happen next week. We will see how that's going to go. We're going to have it live, put up on the screen. It's going to be a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun last year when we did it. It's going to go very quickly. Chuck does a great job in getting it all lined up and ready to go, and he'll be here in the man cave.
Yep. We'll have fun with it next week.
So, but we'll be right back after this. I'm Mike Allen. This is the Radio Man Cave, and you are on the air.
Something has to change. Every day, we are witnessing brutality on an unimaginable scale. Every day, we are witnessing systemic racism that many of us had been told about, but didn't want to believe was real. Every day, people are being victimized, and we feel powerless. We are filled with anger, fear, rage. But it doesn't have to be this way. The police should make us feel safe, not scared, relieved, not resentful. Now is the time for change, and Joe Jorgensen and I have a plan to bring that change. End qualified immunity. End demilitarization of the police. End civil asset forfeiture. End no-knock raids. End the war on drugs. End institutional racism. Make our justice system a system of actual justice. Now, more than ever, is the time to reject and disrupt the status quo. Now is the time to heal. I'm Spike Cohen, and you are the power.
Man, they're stepping up their game, boys. I'm liking the vote gold, man. I'm liking the vote gold. All
I'll
right,
give them credit. They did a nice ad.
Chuck.
Sir.
Next week.
Next week.
We're all
Here's the
going to
man
come
cave.
in here. We're gonna have maybe some drink. I don't know.
I hope so.
I might get some food catered in.
That would be good.
This will be a party. Also, before I forget, we will also be broadcasting live November 3rd, election night.
Oh, okay.
So be ready for that. Anyway, tell us how it's going to happen next week, Chuck.
Baker Mayfield. Sorry. Okay. So here's the deal. 12 teams or more. What we're going to do is we're going to do what's called a snake draft. For those of you who don't understand, first person will be Mike. He'll pick Baker Mayfield. Second person will pick, and then up through whatever number, let's say 12 for now. And then in round 2, the person with the 12 pick will then take it back, the snake effect. Then it goes 12, 11, 10, so on, back to number 1. And then at number 1, it turns again. So the people at the ends, the bookends, they get 2 draft picks in a row. And the draft continues. We'll have more details as far as number of players that you'll be drafting. But the thing to know about this draft, and it'll be online, it'll be on ESPN. Again, like Mike said, you have to have an ESPN login to draft. You will only have 30 seconds to make your pick. The reason being, if we're taking 25, 26 players, that's a long time on the air.
That's going to be freaking awesome, man.
I think last year, didn't we draft in an hour and a half?
Oh, yeah, it was quick. It was quick. It was absolutely
We want it quick.
It flew.
We want it quick. So
Yeah, absolutely
30
flew.
seconds for pick. There's no hiccuping. There's no, oh, wait a minute. I took this guy. I want to take this. No, once you take somebody, that's it.
And if you have a Facebook page, like us on Facebook, like all the Mike Allen pages. Also, request to be a part of the group, the On the Air with Mike Allen group. And if you're in the league, we are going to start a chat box.
Can you let her go? I think she wants to go through.
A chat box for the league. That way we can communicate inter-player.
Go ahead.
She's sniffing your dogs.
Chuck, which New York team has
Yes.
the best chance of not being a dumpster fire this year?
Giants for sure, because they've got talent. They've got good talent.
And Eli's finally retired.
Yes, Eli. It's Daniel Jones, man. Daniel Jones is a quote unquote sleeper pick for a lot of experts.
How about Buffalo? Where do you see?
Oh, Buffalo's going to win the division.
You're going to come in here with a bunch of oil later, aren't you?
Buffalo's going to win the division.
How about Bears?
God, in that division, they're not going to be.
The Bears ain't going to do shit.
They're going to be better in Detroit, but that's about it.
Yeah, and
No offense.
no offense taken. I mean, it's been since 1957 that we've had a championship. So
But they did beat the Cowboys in the playoffs.
the only playoff win in 60, what is it now?
I don't
63 years.
know. Wow.
Well, you guys have the Pistons, so they
Who haven't been to the NBA Finals since the early 90s.
actually no. The mid 2000s they went.
Oh, did they? Did they
Yeah.
go back? Oh.
Yeah, the mid 2000s after the whole basketball situation.
Well, just to make you feel better, of course, we know the Steelers and we know the Pittsburgh Penguins, okay? But the Pittsburgh Pirates, take a crack at when the last time they won the World Series. Just off the top of your head.
1978.
I was going to say 1923.
1978.
Okay, you're ridiculous, okay? You're 1 year off, 1979. When I
79.
graduated high school.
79. Yeah, I
Yep.
knew it was in the late 70s
1979 was the last time the Pittsburgh Pirates won the World
because
Series.
that was the year that the Pittsburgh Penguins won the Stanley Cup.
Yep, and the
The
Pittsburgh
Steelers won the Super Bowl,
Super Bowl.
and the Pirates won the World Series, and that was the first time in history that one city had all 3 major championships.
Didn't Boston have that back in the early mid 2000s?
Yeah, 04.
04. But that was the first time. Listen, what I
Yeah, that's
said.
the first time.
That was the first time
Right.
a city had 3 major championships.
We were title city, and we were loving every second of it. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and now,
Okay.
and could I just have a moment of silence for
Bow your heads. Let's pray.
all the Boston fans who, after years of talking shit and walking around with their noses in the air, this year, not only will their baseball team
Suck.
suck, the Celtics
Suck.
ain't going to go anywhere, and your Patriots aren't going to go to the playoffs.
Suck.
What about the Bruins?
Bruins are on the edge of extinction right now in the NHL playoffs. They're down 3-1 in their series.
How come the Red Sox didn't get as much flack as the Astros because of the same guy with the cheating scandal? Alex
Because they
Cora?
didn't win a
They didn't win a World Series.
Yeah, they did. They
Now when
Yeah,
they were
they-
cheating.
2018.
Now when they were cheating.
I thought they did in 2018. They beat the Astros and no, I thought it was 20. The Astros were 2017, and then
And they cheated.
The Red Sox were 2018. They cheated, and then 2019
Was it
Washington.
was it proven though?
Yes, because it was Alex
Yeah, they
Cora.
had sanctions.
was Alex
They had
Cora.
sanctions.
It was Alex Cora, both teams. So,
Him
and that's
yeah.
how they eliminated the Astros in the first round. Is he knew the entire playbook.
I think everybody was just so pumping down on the Astros. It's like, oh,
And
boy,
now
another
the
team.
Astros. Are the
Well,
biggest-
because the Astros, were like that was their first World Series that they
Yeah.
still don't have.
and
I remember you guys walking around with your Astros hats on, man. Oh
I
my
was
god,
wearing the cap off last year.
I felt so bad.
And now they're the biggest SJW team in the entire league.
So what did they do? Did they just give it to the Dodgers?
No, they didn't.
No. They
stripped
kept.
Is it just
they didn't
vacant?
No.
But if you look at them this year, they're
Houston
They
was
didn't-
stripped, wasn't it?
No.
They
weren't stripped.
They
No, they weren't. They were
But
not stripped of their title.
If you look at the offensive production, specifically of Altuve this year,
Oh, Altuve, Correa, Bregman. Bregman was hitting 170 for. Springer is still in the 100s. He's like creeping up to 200 now. They're all down. They're winning games, but it's not because of they're bashing
Now is this
people's
now is
10
this
to 2.
is this Houston?
This is
They
the
all still
Astros.
playing Houston.
Yeah.
Now they're doing that despite getting beaned about every other pitch.
now they're the biggest SJWs. They're the biggest ones. They're the ones that walk off and have the most political
Oh, God, here we
protests
go.
on the field.
I know it took a while to get him warmed up. Took a while to get him warmed. Something we're gonna have to cut him loose one show.
I want to talk about something.
You're gonna be here for the election night, right?
Yeah.
We need to have your bookend because you got 3 libertarians, and we don't have. I mean, Pragmatic Ideals. If he's still watching, he's all the way out in Seattle. He'd have been a great one.
Yeah, that guy's awesome. I like that guy.
I like that guy. Yeah, I don't agree with him at all, but
Cool dude.
he's a cool. That was my guest last week. But
I need a microphone, so I need to hand this to Chuck because this is a Chuck question.
is it Chuck question? Okay.
All right, we'll talk about it in 4.
So what you're saying is I need another microphone? Is that I have one somewhere.
Find it.
I guess I'll find it.
Yes.
The Seattle Kraken.
Okay.
I'm excited. This is gonna be awesome.
As well, you should be.
Yeah.
And this is the Major League Soccer, right?
No.
No.
NHL expansion.
NHL.
team.
Oh. Are
Yes.
they going to be green and gold?
Yeah, so they're gonna be probably awesome because they get all the cool.
They're right there, right next to Canada, man.
Yeah. So
All they got to do is just drive up the road there and get them some Canucks
you
to
can
come
import
down. in.
Canadians for
Look at
pennies on the dollar.
look at the last expansion NHL team. They did the
Well,
draft.
Vegas.
Yeah.
And
Well,
they kicked butt.
Okay, understand this. When you have to understand that when an expansion team comes in, and they did this in the NFL too, and they almost had 2 expansion teams playing in a Super Bowl. I don't know if you guys remember this. This is the last year that John Elway lost in the playoffs before he went on a 2 Super Bowl run, and they had those old crappy uniforms when Jacksonville, as an expansion team, went all the way to the AFC Championship. And so did Carolina
Yeah.
in their first year.
Yep.
So how they did that wasn't phenomenal coaching.
No, it's
No.
just really good drafts.
They get the first round draft picks and they get unrestricted free agency.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they can basically pay their players wherever the hell they want. That's how Vegas went all the way to the Stanley Cup in their first year
That's
and
how
won.
friggin' Seattle's
That's how
and it's gonna be awesome.
And that's why they ain't shit now, because all the players, once they got all their money, then were dispersed throughout the league so
Yeah.
that they could get under the salary cap in the second year.
By the way, for the record, they got their goaltender led them to Stanley Cup right here. Guy from the Penguins who helped them win back-to-back cups in 16 and 17.
Now that they've got a favorable owner of the Rockets and the Toyota Center that's actually wants to have a hockey team. And the reason why Les Alexander wanted to have a hockey team, but then he had this feud with Chuck Watts with the minor league team, the Arrows, and then he's like, I don't want hockey, and so Houston was completely off the radar, even though they built an NHL spec arena. But now you got Tillman Fertitta as the owner of the Rockets and controller of the Toyota Center. When's Houston going to get an NHL team?
They're going to have somebody move there.
Hopefully never, because Houston's terrible.
Here's what I think. Before Houston gets any other professional franchise,
WNBA?
San Antonio needs some love. I'm telling you, as
San Diego-
a sports town,
They
have the Spurs. That's all they need.
No,
That's all they have.
So,
that's all they have.
And
Hey,
And an MSL team.
Okay.
That I don't even know.
bottom
who it
line is this: the Alamo Dome, when it's configured for football, is one of the best football stadiums anywhere.
And they built it because they thought they were going to get an expansion team
That's
back
right.
when the Jacksonville Jaguars and Carolina, and they were one of the teams in the final. And I thought this would have been a fantastic move if the Raiders would have went to San
Raiders.
Antonio.
Yep.
They would have had that stadium would have been sold out.
I wonder who
every
blocked that.
single. I think they were.
wonder who blocked that.
This is what happened. Let me tell you, they never had an intention to go to San Antonio. I think they floated that out there so they could strengthen their negotiating
Exactly.
for a stadium
Yep.
in Las Vegas.
It's called guinea pig.
Yep. And
They use them as a
here's
guinea pig.
I,
How about-
I,
how
I don't
about
know.
San
I might
Diego?
be a little off because I live in Texas. But if you are going to build a multi-billion-dollar high-tech stadium in Las Vegas for professional sports, put a dome on it.
Yeah.
has a
oh,
dome on
amen.
No, it doesn't. It's open air.
Yep.
All right, but here's the thing:
Yes.
Raiders fans are terrible people, and they will drive to Vegas to go do terrible people things of football. So it only made it.
And that's what makes the Raiders so awesome.
Yeah, they are.
no.
Win or lose, the Raiders have one of the best die-hard fan bases of any.
Oh, the Raider Nation, man.
Yeah, they can have the best diehard fan base in the nation, but they're terrible, terrible fans to other people.
Okay. so
Oh,
we're
wait a minute. Whoa,
Now,
whoa.
hold on. He is a Seahawks fan.
yeah.
And that is one of the big rivalries in NFL is the Raiders Seahawks, and they had when they were both in the AFC West, they were always battling for the AFC West.
Yeah.
So
And they still have Pete Carroll in the Seahawks, too.
And by the way, Philly's the worst as far as
I don't get it. what's
horrible
with-
fans.
Yeah.
I mean, they're throwing batteries and beer bottles at players.
Yeah.
Come
Oh
on.
yeah.
I was gonna say I don't know what it is with Raiders fans and throwing things because Texas Tech, like the Red Raiders, also love throwing shit at people. You should probably fucking stop that.
Well, what they should probably do is go into the stands and get one of those fans with a good arm and put them on there at quarterback so they can win some games. That's what they should
They
do.
really should.
Bump.
But
What are they saying on the chat thing there, Mike? Anything?
Oh, Randy Fry says continuing his reign as Mike Allen, league champion. Randy, good luck to you.
I was gonna bring
Good
up
luck to you.
too. So
Yes.
For
That barbecue was good though.
for the Kraken Stadium, I guess what they're actually doing is they rebuilt the Key Arena, which has been around since
okay.
ever. And the last time I went to the Key,
That's where
Arena,
the Sonics play.
yeah, it was a tiny fucking place. Like
It was.
It barely worked for basketball. But I guess they pretty much like gutted the complete interior and like dug
Thank
it
God,
out
right?
and like brought it up too. And like I don't know, I'm expecting it to be pretty cool because like I know in Seattle like we had several bids out for since like the 90s to try to get an expansion team and it was always just blocked. But then they had this empty ass arena that's totally not as cool as the fucking Tacoma Dome. And they're like, we just play hockey in it. And like it's finally coming to fruition and this is awesome. But I also think we should have like minor league expansion teams like major NHL expansion teams. Like I would like to see one actually come. San Antonio should get a hockey team.
They should.
Call them the Armadillos.
Yeah, but you know
should.
what? They had the Iguanas and then the Rampage, and the Rampage have left.
Do you see Seattle getting an expansion team and reactivating the Sonics franchise?
I see him getting an NBA basketball team.
I
for sure.
I see one of the existing NBA franchises going
Exactly.
to Seattle.
Yeah.
Yep.
One, do you think?
I don't know.
Probably the one that's been moving around the most, the Penguins.
Yeah.
That's hockey.
No, that's hockey.
Or not the
Which one?
Penguins, the
What city?
Utah.
no, Pelicans. Pelicans.
Oh, New Orleans.
Oh, New
Orleans
Orleans. Okay.
Pelicans.
And then move them and then have the new Supersonics, which would be cool.
Because they're not
The
they're not
Super
they're not
Sonics.
really doing well in
No.
New Orleans at all. And that used to be the Charlotte Hornets.
And see, they have a big star
And then
attraction in
where
Zion
did they
Williamson
move? Where
too.
did they moved somewhere to Charlotte.
The Charlotte Hornets became the New Orleans Hornets, and then they gave Charlotte an expansion team called the Bobcats, and then they realized that the Hornets is a terrible name for New Orleans. They gave the name back to Charlotte, so the Bobcats became the Hornets, are now owned by Michael Jordan. It's a convoluted mess.
It is.
Anyway, I
But
think
Michael
that I
Jordan's
think
got
that
his
team
thumb
will
in
go.
everything.
It'll be either that team or another one of the expansion teams that's just not
Oregon still doesn't have a professional sports team for anything, right?
Oregon, Portland Trailblazers.
Portland. Yeah.
God damn it.
Portland Trailblazers.
Stupid Oregon.
Yeah.
Stupid Oregon. What? What are you beating up on Oregon
Wait,
for?
Trailblazers. Do you think they're going to rename the team with the city being ablaze for the past 90 days?
The Riders.
Oh.
The Molotov. The
Portland
Molotovs.
Hornets.
It has, and when you said with the WNBA, I mean, remember they had the Comets in Houston, and they had the
Yes,
first
they
four
did.
champions, and just the whole thing around. Les sold the team to
Well, I mean-
Hilton's Fine Furniture, who had no
I mean,
money to support
Houston's had its championship
Don't forget the
teams.
Silver Spurs.
The Rockets,
two. Yep.
have
94,
won.
95.
Yeah. And prior to that, it was like
The Arrows won a couple.
Yes, they
minor
did.
league,
Yeah.
and that's
Yep.
that's just
WHA.
and the IHL and the World Hockey League in the 70s. I think
Yeah,
they won
it's
a championship.
WHA.
And then
World Hockey Association.
Didn't
Yes.
they win a championship with the American Hockey League before they moved the team to Des Moines? I think that's where it is now.
They possibly could have.
My question is,
But here's the bottom line: they haven't won a Super Bowl.
yeah,
No.
like,
They didn't do a Super
yeah, because Houston's garbage. Maybe
oh,
if
there's
it was
only there's
Houston-
four there's four teams in the NFL that have never even been to the game.
Your Lions
Texans.
suck.
Name them.
Texans,
Lions,
Detroit Lions,
Come on, baby. Come on.
Cardinals, not Cardinals.
Cardinals have been twice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Twice so.
Chargers have been 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
The Salamis.
The Salamis.
Vikings.
No,
Vikings have been,
there
4 times.
Bud, what's his name? Bud Grant took
Bud
him
Grant.
4 times himself.
Yep.
Yeah.
A hunting buddy of my dad, by the way.
Really cool.
Yep.
Buffalo's been. They've never won, but they've been on.
Buffalo was 4 times.
Buffalo's
in a
4
row.
times.
Struggling with the sports knowledge.
Somebody knows on the chat. Help them out. Help them out in the
Come on,
chat.
help
The
'em out.
4 NFL franchises that have never even been to the Super
And
Bowl
we've given
game.
you 2.
Tampa Bay.
And Randy Fry, don't look it up on the web, man.
Houston Texans and Detroit Lions. There's 2 more.
Any of the Florida teams?
I don't know.
He's so
Miami
close.
had an undefeated season.
He's so close.
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville
There you
has
go.
never
There's
been.
3.
Now one more,
Uno mas.
and I'll give you a hint.
Oh man, don't.
Of all the teams in the NFL, there are 2 that are, or well, actually 3. The Portsmouth Staleys, which is now the Detroit Lions, the Green Bay Packers, and this team, which was one of the original NFL franchises that has never been to the Super Bowl.
Are they still a franchise?
Yeah,
Yep. That's a good question. That's a good hint right there.
that's a great hint. I can't believe you can't get it.
Come on, big
Come on,
boy.
help him out. Help him out in the
Vikings?
chat.
Oh, wait, I already said the Vikings.
I already said the
I already
Vikings.
said the Vikings.
5 times. Otis Taylor down the sideline for a touchdown pass from Lenny Dawson, winning Super Bowl 4 for the Kansas City Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
John
won last year.
John Elway marching 78 yards for the winning touchdown to knock them out of the AFC Championship.
Oh my
The
goodness.
catch, the drive,
The fumble.
the fumble. Oh my God!
Come on, Leland. The fumble.
I got it. I'm gonna help you out.
Okay, all right. Here
I'm
we
gonna
go.
help you out. Here we go. This is the last one.
I know what you're gonna do.
Baker Mayfield. Cleveland has
Cleveland
never
Browns have
been.
never been.
Oh, wait, Cincinnati's won a championship at Cleveland.
Cleveland-
They're so bad. I'm not
Cleveland
even
has
thinking about it.
Cincinnati has been twice and lost twice.
Yep.
I thought Cleveland.
Lost to Washington.
Now,
and-
now,
Oh, yeah.
the last time Cleveland was dominant, they shared or they traded NFL championships with 3 teams in the 1950s.
Before you had the Super Bowl.
The LA Rams, the Detroit Lions, and the Cleveland Browns.
Bobby
They
Lane.
were dominant in the 50s, late 40s, early 50s, all the way up into the 60s. And then the Packers took over in the 60s with the dominant team of the decade of the 60s, the Cowboys and the Steelers in the 70s. And then the 80s, it was San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Joe Montana.
Yeah, basically San Francisco.
Washington was in there.
San Francisco. And I'm going to, in the 80s, I'm going to say San Francisco, and I'm also going to throw the LA Raiders and the Oakland Raiders in there, too.
There you go.
Because they had a
California
couple.
dominance.
Ed DeBartolo back in the day.
Yeah, and then in the 90s, it was the Cowboys early on.
Mm-hmm.
And then
New England
New
started
England
in
took over in
2000.
2000, and this
Yep.
will be their first year that
Well,
they're not even
they-
going to be relevant.
The
It's so good.
It's
so good they're not gonna be
didn't
relevant.
the Broncos win
Well,
a couple,
Brady is.
But didn't the Broncos win a couple championships in the late?
Yeah,
90s?
they
Yes,
did.
they did in the late 90s.
After the Simpsons made fun of them.
Mm-hmm.
And there was that whole episode where
John Elway was in the twilight of his
Yep.
career.
Mhm.
there was that whole
He had probably the best balanced football team he ever played on, and he got beat by the Jacksonville Jaguars in the divisional playoff and
Yep.
knocked out of the playoffs.
Yep.
And they came back and just ran it. And they got new uniforms. They got those new uniforms, came back and just crushed it for
By
2
the way,
straight
Simpsons,
years.
Tom Brady did a great cameo on that when they had the one about where. Oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't Simpson. That was Family Guy. Sorry, other story. But Family Guy, that was a great. Tom Brady was great in that one.
So one of my
The silly nannies from England, by the way, for those who saw the episode. Anyways, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Cleveland
Seattle.
probably will still never win a Super Bowl as punishment for the Drew Carey show existing.
well, their spiritual successor, the Ravens, did.
Oh, yeah. Twice.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Twice.
I know. They're technically an expansion team. They were technically an expansion team because of the whole.
Well, they have a couple of things. Cleveland is under the Paul Brown curse because they never won a championship after firing Paul Brown, who
Yes.
the team is named after.
Right.
So he went and threw a pissy fit and started another team called the Cincinnati Bengals in the All-American Football League, which turned into the American Football League, which then turned into
Yeah.
the NFL when they merged in the 70s, in the early 70s. Here, quick fun fact. Here's another NFL question we're going to put to our big brain over here. When the NFL merged in 1970, they had to balance out the ledger. There was more NFL teams than there were AFL teams. Name the 3 teams that were in the NFL but now play in the AFC.
Cardinals?
No.
No, Cardinals play in the NFC.
Miami?
No.
No.
They were original AFF.
He gave you one of them.
3 of them. Yeah.
There's 3 teams.
He gave
And
you one of
here's a hint. One of the teams not only won an NFL championship as an NFL team, but they also won a Super Bowl as an AFC team.
Indianapolis? Oh, actually,
The Baltimore Colts. Indianapolis, Baltimore Colts. Yep. That's one. What are the other 2?
What did we just talk
Patriots?
about?
Cincinnati. Cincinnati was part of the American Football League.
No, they were always part of the AFL.
I'm turning my mic off.
What
Boston was always part of the AFL as well.
what division is Cincinnati in?
Cincinnati is what the AFC East or North?
North.
North.
And what are the teams in the AFC North?
Let's see, the Colts, Cincinnati, not Green Bay. It's Buffalo, and the Jets.
Oh my God. Are you serious? I never would have guessed this of him.
Sports trivia.
It's the Steelers
Pittsburgh.
division. Who's in the Steelers division?
Cincinnati,
Cincinnati,
Pittsburgh,
Pittsburgh,
Baltimore, and
the Jets.
God.
Cleveland.
Cleveland was in the
Cleveland was one of the original NFL franchises.
Right.
I thought they were in the
They played the Canton Bulldogs
Yep.
they were in the NFC for the longest time.
He just talked about Cleveland in the
when
50s.
they merged.
Yes.
3 teams had to go from the NFL league to the AFL league that became the AFC.
I don't follow that division. division? I followed the AFC South.
Cleveland, the Baltimore Colts, and Chuck.
The Pittsburgh Steelers. Yep. There's your sports fun. What are they saying on the chat, real quick? I'm always interested. Probably nothing.
Tropical Edge headquarters says, imagine Fournette going to Carolina.
Ooh. Wow.
Ooh,
That would be interesting.
that
Wow.
would be a good fantasy pick then if he goes to Carolina.
Yes, he would.
Carolina, what's the quarterback
But-
situation there?
They get the rookie,
Yeah, what's his name?
but they got McCaffrey as a running back.
So where so is Cam Newton?
Can you imagine McCaffrey and Fournette in the bank saying, "Oh,
So is Cam Newton a free agent or did he get signed by somebody?
Patriots,
He's with
God
the
dang,
Patriots. Where have you
Leland."
I have been paying attention to the NFL. I'm sorry.
been? Wow. Okay, sports lesson. You know what? Hey, here's the good news, Mike. He's in our division this year, so
He is.
yeah. He's the one that's going to lose
He
the
is.
auto draft team.
Oh,
this
we
year.
already have the divisions.
Yeah.
What are they called?
We haven't named them yet. We can name them whatever we want.
Okay.
Yep. It'll be something significant. We'll name them next week as well.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Leland.
That is kind of disappointing.
I am
I'm a little stunned.
speechless, my man.
But that's okay. You're good, man. You're good.
And
You're good.
Okay, Leland, I think you're a little off.
Yeah.
Tonight.
Yeah.
No. 2 weeks in a row now.
Oh, okay.
I had a left-wing liberal right here.
Okay.
And I did a great interview with him. And he's a great kid. He really is. He's very dedicated to how he thinks, and he's very thoughtful, and he's not a knee-jerk
Knee-jerk reaction.
reaction type guy. He doesn't pull a bunch of talking points out that you get, he's
Okay, good.
very thoughtful. So it was a great interview. We had a great interview. And I just knew that this guy over here was chomping at the bit.
Right.
And I said, here you go. And I sat back waiting for and
He had nothing to
he
say.
had nothing.
It was awesome.
Oh, my goodness.
Leland, I know you're a bit off. Are you okay?
Is it a girl?
No.
Now we're busting your chops, man. But Leland,
We are busting your chops.
it's
We love
football frickin' season, dude. We have to get in gear. Have to get in gear.
you.
I love you, man.
We do. Absolutely.
Well, I
love you. I'm busting your chops 'cause I love you.
I won't pick 5 kickers like West Coast did last year.
Bridgewater went to the Panthers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Who said that? Was that Randy?
TTV Tropical Edge headquarters.
Oh,
Is
cool.
now listening in.
Thank you. Hey, get that person's email address.
Yeah. Hey, if you want
You
to
got to be a member of the league.
if
man,
you want to
for
be
sure.
on the league in the league,
Yep. Send us your email address. We'll send you an invite to a team. And if we send you an invite to the team, you've got 24 hours to accept it. Otherwise, you go back in the pool.
hey, Tropical Edge, I'm just going to call you TTV. Go ahead and send your information to that email that I just put in the chat, and we'll get you on the fantasy league.
Definitely.
So which teams are going to actually have fans in the stands?
Well, right now, since the new CDC numbers came out, and it was all bullshit, like I said,
Yeah.
I think it's kind of one of those things where if you catch someone in a lie, they have to slowly back out of it. So I see a lot of season ticket holders starting to open up, maybe some boxes, because you can be in a box and be socially distanced.
I'm surprised they
I know UT is going to have their normal capacity of 25% to their games, so that's no big change.
A&M's going to have 50%.
A&M's going to have 50, and of course, they're going to still go do the song and dance until after November 3rd, and then by Christmas time, it's going to be fart in the wind.
By the way, NFL teams right now have said no crowds for the first game.
Yeah, ESPN Fantasy League. We use their platform.
Yeah, be sure you have an ESPN ID and password to be logged in.
If he knows that much about what's going on, I'm
yeah.
pretty sure he's got one.
The first,
make sure he's in
so
the
the
other
first
division.
week they're not going to have crowds. That's unfair to those that had an opening first week at home.
You know I don't care because I'll be watching on TV.
That's right.
It'll be so awesome.
Absolutely.
No, I meant for revenue. I mean, what are they going to do? Revenue sharing, or how's that going to work?
You know what? I don't care
It doesn't
because I'll be
matter.
watching it on TV. It'll be so awesome.
With the
Here's the scary part. This is 2020, okay, where everything's like out the window. Here's my prediction for because it's 2020. Mike Allen is going to be competitive this year in the OTA league. Mike Allen.
He already said he's given up on the Lions.
No. What I'm saying is that on the fan boards,
Right.
it's not the giddy optimism of years past.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you always got the one guy's like, oh, we got this guy, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that,
Coach
and that's
got
great.
this and-
Yeah, and that's great. But then every year, by about the third game, we're like, what the fuck are we doing? Why even stay sober at this point?
So in
You
other
know what I'm
words,
saying?
it's not even the third game. It's preseason this year. That they're not real happy about the Lions. Which is about
Are they even
normal.
having a preseason this year? Or they're going straight to the regular season.
I think they're having 2 preseason games. I think they're playing 2 preseason and then going to the regular season.
And then 16 regular season games.
Yep. So, all right. Next Monday.
Next
Be-
Monday
be
night's
here.
the draft. What time are we going to start the draft? Same time?
9:15.
9:15. So 9:15 to be the draft.
Yeah. give you 15 minutes to kind of get everything sorted out and whatever.
Yeah, we're going to have the draft posted up live, so we'll be able to watch it as we talk behind it. We had a
Talk
bunch
about
of
stupid
people
picks.
like on telephone last year, and that just kind of got convoluted.
Yeah,
so
it
we're
did.
gonna talk your trash in the chat. Everybody that's watching will be able to read it, and if I see something funny or something going on in the chat that I think is funny, I'm going to go ahead and
bring it out.
respond and call you out or whatever. But
Yeah, so it's an online draft, so you can log in, go to the league. The draft will be up there. It'll say enter draft room now. You can enter draft room and then draft.
yeah, and then draft. And if you don't make it to the draft, you will be auto draft, which probably will guarantee you at least
That's
2 wins
probably
against
not a
me.
good- But and
It'll
what's
probably
amazing is-
guarantee at least 2 wins against me.
Man, I said you were going to be competitive.
I was competitive last year.
Not really.
Came in second.
Second to who?
Whoever was in my bracket thing. I made it to playoffs.
No, you got
No, no.
ousted the last week of the playoffs, or last week before the
Oh,
playoffs.
that's right. Joe beat me.
Yeah, Joe beat you.
Joe came out of nowhere and knocked
Yep.
me out of the playoffs.
Yep.
And I had a better record than that clown too. I had like a 7-5 record, didn't I?
Yeah. It wasn't.
I mean,
bad.
I was. It was a competitive league last year. We had a lot of fun.
Yes, and it's going to be more competitive because I have a feeling everybody's out. You get that first year in. Of course, I'm wondering about Leland right now, but he'll rebound. He'll rebound, right?
I'm not telling you guys my picks, so you guys don't pick them.
And Mad Mike, of course, is in the league, so
How many picks are there? How many rounds are there?
I don't know yet. I haven't.
Well, it
looked at the
depends on how
rosters.
many players we end up right now.
All right.
We have it.
Figure about 25, 26.
Right now we have it set at 12, but that can change if we have enough people that want to be in it. I
Right.
want the more people. Here's the thing: it doesn't cost anything to get into the league, so
Right.
it's not. And I don't care if it's, we have a lot of people, and because that just makes it more competitive because there's more parity, there's more trash talking, there's more fun. And that's what I want this to be about. Is kind of a.
Is that your TTA boy over there?
Yeah, he says Breeze makes it to the Super Bowl. You and Patrick Davis will be good friends.
You get along really
you
well.
become a regular listener because he is a New Orleans fan, true and true. I would like to see here's my Final Four
Okay.
in the AFC. In the AFC,
Final four.
the AFC Championship game.
Oh, final two.
Well, and then the NFC.
Okay.
The AFC Championship game will be the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
Wait for it. Baltimore Ravens.
Not Tampa Bay.
No.
Tampa Bay.
AFC.
God, man.
Get some good sleep, man.
His stock has gone completely down.
Maybe next week hit the crack pipe before you come in here. You'll be all right,
I
buddy.
didn't have a cheeseburger today.
Oh,
So
okay, that's
there
it.
we go.
Your gluten is down. In the NFC,
Okay.
what I would like to see in the NFC Championship game, but they probably will play each other in the playoffs. But what I would love to see in the NFC Championship game, and and hopefully they get seeded. And I'm pretty sure the NFL will make sure that they try to seed it if this happens.
Of course.
Brady Breeze, Tampa Bay, New Orleans.
I think
you're
I
half
think the
right.
wild card
And-
is going to be not New Orleans, but Seattle. Seattle and Tampa Bay.
That could be because they're good. They're good. That could be. I'm telling you what I'd like to see. I mean, there's a bunch of teams in the NFC that could upset that kettle. It could be Seattle, San Francisco. It could be.
How about Green Bay?
It could be Green. Well, Green Bay's kind of they're not.
No.
No. It could be Carolina. Might make a run with Bridgewater and McCaffrey, and they've got a good defense. They could upset the kettle cart a little bit.
Carolina's got the XFL quarterback from Houston, right?
Bridgewater.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's a good quarterback.
He's a damn good quarterback. He was-
So, I mean, there's a lot of
Put it in for Breeze
variables in
last year,
there.
Went undefeated.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables in there, but what I would like to see, because that would set up, and what would be awesome is either a Breeze Mahomes or a Brady Mahomes Super Bowl, which would be good for the game, and it would be just awesome.
Okay, let's be real. Okay,
TTV says the Chiefs will choke in the playoffs.
Tampa Bay is not going to make the championship game. Okay,
I know. I'm
They're
telling you
not
what I would like to
I
see.
know it's nice. It's fun to talk about.
Probably
but it's not going to happen.
It's probably going to be New Orleans and God. It's tough because there's a lot of parity.
The Rams, I know they're in it again.
Well, San Francisco, the Rams could be in it. Yeah,
Tell
I
you,
mean,
the other
there's
place
there's going to be a lot of good NFC teams.
If Fournette goes to Philly, they become a level better because they'll have the best running back tangent of anybody in the NFL.
Oh yeah. Fournette goes to
If he goes to Philly, yep.
no. If he goes ends up in Carolina with McCaffrey.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Yep.
Bridgewater is
They become
quarterback
the
plus
best,
their
yeah.
defense too.
And Bridgewater is the Mahomes / Lamar Jackson type of quarterback.
Yeah. And he was just playing for Houston.
Okay,
All right.
good.
You got to get up tomorrow, man.
Yes, I do.
One more thing.
One more thing, Mike.
MLS.
Okay.
When does the whole Austin thing? When is that going to be? Like?
That's going to be in the spring of 2021.
We got to go to that.
Stadium's
Yeah.
almost finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stadium is badass.
I want to go get shit faced and watch soccer and make fun of other people that like soccer teams that are not the one I like.
We will make that happen. We will make
better,
that
damn
happen.
I expect parades and drunken hooliganery as there should be.
Were you Ireland now or what?
I don't have my Bella Clava on, so possibly.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for stopping by, folks. Thanks to all the new listeners and new followers that we have. Make sure you like and follow the channel. Go to Facebook. Find us on Facebook. There's a group over there. There's a page over there. All of our updates and everything is there. Just so glad to have you stop by. We had a lot of fun tonight. The player to be named later will be back next week. We'll hear about all his Florida shenanigans. Plus, Patrick Danger Davis has guaranteed me that he will have his segment ready after blowing us off for 2 weeks. Patrick. Again. So he'll be back. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Allen. This is the Radio Man Cave, and you have been on the air.
Great job, team. Head back to base for debriefing and cocktails.